How's it going, everybody? Fishin Ministries here. Just a little conversation I want to have on about something that I struggle with, and I know a lot of people struggle with, I'm sure. And that's, watching what you say, how you say certain things, and your thoughts. So for me, I've always heard your tongue is like the rudder of a ship. It's the rudder of the ship controls where the rest of the boat goes. And if you think about it, your tongue's the same way. If you're talking negatively or some sort of way, then you're going to think that way, and it's going to lead to the decisions you make, the words that you say, how you say certain things, and it's one of those things that, like I said, I struggle with. I know a lot of people do. Is always speaking life and positively, even through hardships or big decisions or other situations where you really have to watch what you say and think about what you're saying. But I also think that the things you think and the way you think goes hand in hand with the words that you say. And I say that because if you say something with your mouth, then you're going to think some sort of way. If you're always speaking death or negativity, then that's where your mindset's going to be. On the other hand, whatever you say can't contradict the things that you think. If you're having a conversation with the Lord, and you say out loud, I believe in you, I know you are King, and stuff similar to that, but in your head you're doubting it, or you're saying that he can and he will, but in your head you're thinking, man, I really don't know. I don't really believe what I'm saying, but I'm saying what I think I should say. That's one of those things that you really have to be careful of. If you're having a conversation with somebody and you tell them one thing, but you're thinking something else, then what is that conversation? What good is that conversation doing anybody? And the Lord knows. He knows what you're thinking. He knows what you're feeling. So, that's why I say that if you're not thinking it, don't say it. If you're talking to a buddy or a family member or something, and you tell them one thing, but in the back of your head you're saying, "No, that's not right, or that's not how I really feel, then you're doing, you're doing an injustice, I guess, is what I'm trying to say. And like I said, I struggle with it. There are conversations that I've had where I know what the other person wants to hear, even if it's not what they need to hear. And it really didn't do a bit of good, because what they wanted to hear wasn't what they needed to hear. Sorry about the traffic noise. The thing about watching your thoughts is, nobody knows what you're thinking but you, and the Lord, obviously, but nobody around you is really knowing what you're thinking. But you have to watch the way you think also. You can't be having, these thoughts of these sinful thoughts, but also, thinking to yourself, well, they're just thoughts. They don't matter. When in reality, they do matter. It's one of those, yes, nobody around you is going to know what you're thinking, but at the end of the day, depending on what those thoughts are, or like I said earlier, you're sitting here talking out loud like, yes, Lord, I believe in you, and I'm a follower, and etc. But in the back of your head, you're second guessing it. Then He knows, and you know, but like I said, you can't have one without the other. You can't speak without thinking. You can't act without thinking. And pretty much everything you do, you talk to somebody, whether it's a coworker, a classmate, it's one of those things that whatever you think and however you speak, that's going to lead you on a certain path. And I've used the excuse, and I'm sure some others have used the excuse, oh, well, I'm just talking to talk. Well, it's one of those things, like I said in the first video I did. If you're out with a group of buddies or friends, and the way you're talking isn't showing God through you, then why are you there? I've done it multiple times, a lot of times. And they're, you just kind of go along with the crowd and you want to fit in, but do you want to fit in on earth, or do you want to make it, to heaven, the end goal, pretty much? And it's okay, so think of it this way. You go to the doctor's office. The doctor asks you what's wrong, what's going on. If you don't tell him or tell her whatever you're thinking or you're going through, then they can't help you. They can't give you the proper diagnosis or medicine or whatever the case may be. So if you're telling the doctor everything that you're thinking or you're going through, why aren't you going to do the same with the Lord? It's kind of the way I see it. You'll be truthful to another person, but you're not going to be that way to the Lord. And I struggle with it, yes. I'm still on the beginning parts of my journey, so it's nobody's perfect, okay? You gotta work on it. You gotta start watching what you say. You gotta start watching what you think. If it's not a good thought, or you don't have anything good to say, then you probably shouldn't be thinking it or saying it. I guess another little thing another thing that I wanted to kind of touch base on was, when you're praying and you're asking, the Lord for guidance or strength or whatever it is you're asking, you have to believe in what you're saying, or what you're praying, whatever it is that you're doing. You have to, if you're asking for relationship advice, and you go through and you say the world's greatest prayer for relationship advice, and you finish it by saying, oh, I'll never change, or they'll never change, or speaking negative on the situation, even though you just got done praying about it, what was the point of praying on it? It's hard to explain, but at the same time, I'm sure there's people out there that know exactly what I'm saying. If you go to the grocery store or the gas station and you ask for a hot dog, and halfway from the door to the parking lot, you sit there and say, well, I'll probably drop this, or I'm probably not going to like it, then chances are, you might not like it, or you might drop it. But at the same time, you spoke it that you wanted it, or, I don't know where I'm going with that. But I think y'all understand. Like, you can't ask for something and then immediately go to, oh, it's probably never going to happen. Or, it's not going to be as good as I think it's going to be. Ouch. So, I guess moral of what I'm kind of summing up for tonight is, watch what you say. You gotta watch what you think. You got to not only speak it, but you have to believe it. Because if you don't believe it, then what's the point of speaking it? I know I've been rambling and using, you know, what are they? I guess. I'm trying to use analogies. There we go. I forgot what it was called. I know what I'm trying to say, and I hope that y'all can kind of understand what I'm trying to say. Like I've said before, I'm still working on this. I'm still, you know, getting into that habit of finding the right words and saying what I'm actually thinking. But I guess if I'm going to leave y'all with anything, it'll be watch your tongue, let it steer your ship in the right direction, let your thoughts be genuine and godly, and just, you know, believe in what you're praying for, what you're asking for. You know, that's what I'm trying to get at. But it took me a lot more words than I thought it was actually going to. So that'll be the end of this one. Till next time, hope you all have a blessed day, blessed week, blessed month, and a blessed year. And I'll see y'all on the next one, hopefully. So I'll take a couple more casts, just kind of let the road noise and the lure hitting the water entertain y'all for a minute or two. So enjoy the sunset.